Hi, I'm Zibby Owens, and you're listening to Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. This 30-minute podcast features a new author interviewed by me every single day, 365 days a year, for about 30 minutes. I am also the publisher for Zibby Books, which publishes 12 books a year in fiction and memoir. Our books are already out now. You can check it out on zibbybooks.com. And we have a magazine called Zibby Mag, where we have lots of wonderful essays and lifestyle features. That's at zibbymag.com. We have classes at zibbyclasses.com. And I recently opened a bookstore in LA called Zibby's Bookshop at 1113 Montana Avenue at 11th Street in Santa Monica. I hope that you are able to enjoy some of our other offerings, but this here podcast is the basis of all of it and started in 2018, and no matter what I do, this is basically my favorite thing. Enjoy. Terri Libenson is the author of Surprisingly Sarah, which is an Emmy and Friends series, and this episode is guest hosted alongside me by two of my kids, ages 8 and 10. Terri is the New York Times bestselling author of the popular illustrated middle grade series Emmy and Friends. She was previously the Reuben Award-winning cartoonist of the internationally syndicated daily comic strip The Pajama Diaries, as well as an award-winning humorous card writer for American Greetings. Terri lives in Cleveland, Ohio with her husband, Mike. She is a proud mom of 2 grown daughters and a spoiled poodle, Rosie. Welcome, Terri. Thank you so much for coming back on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books, this time to discuss Surprisingly Sarah, your latest book in the Emmy and Friends series.
Thank you so much for having me on again. This is such a pleasure.
Our special guests today are my 2 kids, who are almost 9 and 10 years old, and the biggest fans of yours ever. We've been going into different bookstores and always seeing, like, do they have the Terri Libensons? How many? Blah, blah, blah. So we got some big boosters here.
Ooh, that's exciting. You guys might know more about my books than I do at this point because I'm forgetful. So you can fill in all the gaps that I miss.
Before the kids ask questions, can you tell listeners what Surprisingly Sarah is about and how it fits into the whole series?
Sure. So Surprisingly Sarah, it's a lot like my other books in the sense that it stars 2 different kids. In this case, it's Sarah and her best friend Leo, but there's a little bit of a different format with this one. I presented it in kind of a what if type of scenarios. So it takes you through scenario number 1, where the character Sarah, she decides to work up the courage to ask a boy that she has a crush on to the school dance. And the second what if scenario is, what if instead of asking him, she completely chickens out? And so the book takes you through both storylines, one told from Sarah's viewpoint and the other told from her best friend Leo's viewpoint. And you see how each of the storylines plays out and how each of them get resolved. And by the way, this boy that she wants to ask to the dance, it's no ordinary boy, but it happens to be Leo's other really good friend named Ben. So we get into kind of a weird, tricky little triangle situation. And of course, the characters have to kind of navigate through that. And that tends to be a running theme throughout all these books, how when relationships, whether they're friendships or crushes or family situations, whenever they get kind of complicated or tricky, I like to have the characters really navigate each of the situations and see how they can resolve them and how they can come out on the other side. So it's actually a lot of very true to life stuff.
And you illustrate all the books.
All the books, yep.
Ask questions now?
Yes, go ahead.
What's Izzy's real name?
Izzy's real name? I don't know.
Really?
So it could be anything you want. Anything you want, because I don't even know her real name. And it's funny, I did that on purpose. I didn't want to know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, so which is your favorite book of the ones you wrote?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, it's kind of like choosing a favorite child. I can't choose that, right? Because all my children are my favorite children. It's the same with my books. I love all of them in different ways, but I could tell you which ones that I enjoyed writing the most.
Okay.
Definitely Sarah was one of them. There she is. I have like some bookmark pages in there. That one, weirdly enough, even though it was a more complicated kind of format for me, it flowed out of me. I don't know what happened, but that was a really fun one to write. I loved writing the first one, Invisible Emmy. And by the way, all the books can be read out of order. There's no real order to them, but that was the first one I happened to write. And I loved writing that, but I didn't know what I was doing at the time. It was I first dipped my toes into this whole author thing. So even though I enjoyed writing it, it was, came with a lot of self-doubts and not knowing if I could really write a book. And thankfully it came together. And probably my other really there were quite a few. I love writing Ruby and Brianna. I think there were just two that I had a really hard time writing. That was the second one, Positively Izzy.
And Just Jamie?
That one I loved writing. That was from a personal experience, or I should say came from my daughter's experience. It wasn't a fun situation. It was an experience where she was excluded from her friend group. So yeah, that was deeply personal to all of us. And she gave me permission to write about it years later. And she's absolutely fine now and has a lot of friends.
How old is she now?
Oh, she's 23.
Oh,
yeah.
It was Truly Tyler you had trouble writing?
Truly Tyler and Positively Izzy. Truly Tyler was my pandemic book. And I was having, I think everyone was having a hard time then. And also it was the first time I was writing from the perspective of a boy. And I think I overthought it way too much, right? Yeah, definitely. And once I stopped overthinking it, it was great.
It was actually my favorite book of the series, I think.
Was it really? I'm so glad to hear that.
It was also the first book I read. My favorite was Just Jamie.
Just Jamie? Yeah. Well, and I'm happy to hear that about both of them. One of them was just so personal and the other was just really hard won. So I appreciate that.
So for your next book, is it going to be about Dev?
Oh, I can't tell you who it's going to be about.
Can you give us a hint?
I can give you one hint. Oh, I wish I could. I actually went to see if I could divulge anything about it, and they wouldn't really let me. My publisher wouldn't really let me.
What color are you going to do the cover?
Okay, I could give you a couple hints. So the cover is going to be purple. It's a little different than the other purple. Yeah, it's going to be more like violet. So it's going to be really bright. And the two characters, it's going to be a boy and a girl again. So That's about all I could say. But I think I'll be revealing the cover in the next few months. So it should be coming out pretty soon.
Okay, I have a question.
When is the book coming out? Can we ask?
No, yeah.
When is the book coming out?
Sure. It's going to come out in May. So it's usually the first Tuesday of May. So once a year, each book comes out. And so far, yeah, I love doing them. So I know I'm going to have at least books 8 and 9, hopefully more. So yeah. Yes.
Okay.
You in front.
Are you going to what happens when you run out of people to write with?
I guess I have to make up new people.
That's what I told you.
I know. I do get a lot of requests for Dev, by the way. I get a lot of requests for Dev, for Joe Lungo, and for Celia. So the two least favorite people of all the other characters I get the most requests for. And Dev's a nice boy. So yeah.
Wait. Oh, sorry. Can secondary characters or main characters be secondary characters in other books?
Yes, that happens quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I think that happened especially in my first few books where I would sort of rotate the characters. So first there was Emmy, and then I kind of rotated her best friend Brianna into the forefront, and then I think they both floated in the background in Just Jamie. So they were sort of side characters there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a question?
You guys have great questions.
What's the process like when you start the book? How do you think of the issues in the book? Guys, listen. What's the process like when you think of a new story? How do you come up with all the ideas? I know one you said was from personal experience. Where did you come up with the other ones? And what does the whole process look like when you attack a book?
Oh boy. It's a lot. Yeah. So Yeah, some of it's come from personal experience. Like I said, just Jamie was definitely it was loosely based off of my daughter's experience, but definitely a lot of parallels there. Becoming Brianna was all about a girl having a bat mitzvah, which is something that is very close to my own family, as we happen to be a Jewish family. So I drew a lot of experience from there, and that's just rife with a lot of a lot of drama and friendship issues and things like that, as well as trying to find yourself. Oh yes, you have a question.
Yes, I have two.
Wait, she was answering my
Sorry.
question. Are these totally different, or are they related?
They related to her books.
Are they related to what she's talking about now? Okay, let her just finish talking about the process. Then you ask those two questions. How about that? Okay.
Sure. We'll get back to them. So others, it's funny. I think as I've gone along, I've sort of been making up more stories because my kids are a lot older and I'm drawing less on their experiences. It tends to be more about what I've read or what sometimes what I can harken back on with my own experiences, but a lot of it is just kind of from my imagination, sort of combined with just my own lived experiences. The process. Oh boy.
The short version of the process.
Yeah, this will be it in a nutshell. So I just type out everything in a Word doc. And I don't draw anything right away because I've learned that the story has to change a lot. Sometimes I have to rewrite it from scratch, sometimes many times. So if I have art in there too, the art has to be changed. So it's just a lot more work. So I just sort of indicate where the art's going to go and what it's going to be just in red type. So anywhere you see red type, that's artwork. And then once all that's approved, I start with little loose sketches, just in pencil, and I just plug them right into my type story. And that way we can see how the story and art flow together. And then once that's all approved, I tackle all the final art at once. That takes a long time. That takes maybe about 4 to 5 months or so. And all this is done in a year. This all has to be done in a year. So not a lot of time for outside projects, unfortunately, but good thing I love doing these.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so I have two questions. First one, so you make one every year?
Every year.
So you started 7 years ago.
About 7 years. Well, even before that, because my first book took a long time, even though it's the thinnest book. Like I said, I didn't really know what I was doing. And I didn't have a lot of time. I was actually writing a comic strip back then for newspapers. And that had a daily deadline. That was a full-time job in and of itself. So I was just writing anytime I could. So weekends, nights, whenever I could. So it took me a long time to write that one. So yeah.
And another question that me and Sadie were wondering is that maybe when you run out of characters to write, you could maybe do their books again, but they're in 8th grade instead of 7th grade.
That's a great idea. Yeah. Why not, right? Yeah, they don't have to stay in 7th grade forever. I do have one character that's in 8th grade, so she's a little bit older. So I did.
No, it's Ruby's sister. Oh yeah, Mia.
Yeah. Yep. You got it.
Is this going to be a TV series or an animated show? Is it? And I don't know.
Oh, no, it's not. Okay. I wish. They're peddling it, but yeah, so far, not yet. Hopefully
Crazy.
In the future. Yeah.
It seems such a natural fit for an animated show.
I know, that would be wonderful, especially for a series because there's so many characters and there's so many situations. So yeah,
I think it would be better as a movie.
You think? Okay, yeah. I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you guys have more questions?
More questions, guys?
How did you get the idea for their names in the first book?
Oh, that's a great question. So the first book, I knew I wanted the word invisible in it. And I just wanted a girl's name that would flow really well with invisible. And that's when I thought of Emmy. And the name doesn't have any real significance for me, although I've grown to really love it, of course. But that's how that came about. Ever since, it's been really hard to figure out titles because I've got all these predetermined names for characters. And then when I switch them to become main characters, I've got to figure out a good adjective to go with them. And it gets really, really tricky sometimes because it also has to pertain to the story too.
Okay, why in the first 2 books their names aren't the same letter, but the other ones going from book 3 to book 7 are?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So all the ones that have the same letters, do you know what that writing device is called?
You guys know what that is. When words start with the same letters, they make the same sounds at the beginning of a word.
Starts with an A?
One of the
I knew
the
it.
word itself, it starts with A.
I don't know.
Alliteration?
Alliteration.
I learned about that.
You learned about that.
Alliteration.
Did you learn about it?
Yeah.
You learned about it and he forgot.
Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I'm actually not a huge fan of alliteration, and I didn't really want my titles to use alliteration. But because I was having such a hard time finding catchy names or titles after the first 2 books, I just gave in. Like this, it just flows so much better if I use alliteration. So once Just Jamie happened, it was a domino effect from there.
Do you start with a specific word count? How many? I know some are longer than others. Like, what is the word count range that you do for the books?
No, I should. I really, really should, because they keep getting longer and longer every year, and I keep trying to rein myself in, and I don't know what happens, but the books end up just getting longer. I just love writing them so much. I just keep going and going. So there is no real word count. And because it's so illustration heavy, it's really hard to have a word count because a lot of the words are actually in the illustrations. So I can't even tell you how many words are in each book. I just know that they keep getting longer and longer. I think the longest one may have been Tyler. I'm not sure. Let me compare it. Yep, it's actually longer than Sarah.
What are all your little sticky notes?
Oh, those are just references because right now I'm working on the 8th book and I'm doing all the artwork for it. And so I'll actually go back into like my other books and I'll earmark them for like if I need to reference a certain character and how they look, or maybe how it looks if someone's holding a phone, I can sort of go back and check. So it's all just my personal little bookmarks there.
Amazing. Another question?
No, I don't think so.
Do you have another question?
How did you choose the colors?
Oh, I have a great art team behind me at my publishers. And sometimes I'll suggest the color and sometimes they will. And then we kind of work together to get the perfect orange or green or blue or pink. And they're really, really good at it. So I probably couldn't do it myself, but they're wonderful. I do illustrate all the covers, but they're the ones who really come up with the gorgeous color.
What's something that we would be surprised to learn about you?
Oh boy. Oh my gosh. Let's see. You might be surprised to learn that I'm half Turkish. Pretty big thing.
That is a very big thing.
Yeah. And I love it because it's just so unusual. And I love to really delve into that side of my family history. And I love the food that comes with it. And let's see. I'm trying to think of anything else. I'm usually such an open book that it's hard for me to surprise myself.
If you had to pick an adjective for blank Terri, what would it be?
You know what? Funny Terri. Maybe that's something that's kind of surprising because people who I grew up with probably wouldn't really necessarily give me that tag. But I've learned over many, many decades that I love humor. I really appreciate it. And I'm actually kind of funny when I want to be.
Well, that's a huge surprise. You don't seem funny at all. No, I'm kidding.
Sometimes when I don't mean to be funny, I'm funny.
That's awesome. I love that.
How did you decide the little things here for each?
The icons on the spines?
Yeah.
Little icons? I'm thinking that was my publisher's idea originally. to have like the recognizable character on the spine of the book. And so now we just know for every book, I know to do a little tiny illustration for the spine of each cover. And that just makes them kind of recognizable and stand out at the same time.
Do you think about doing a different series next, or are
No.
Oh gosh. It's funny. I would love to do all kinds of other projects. I haven't thought about another series. I've thought about like maybe trying my hand at picture books, things like that. Things I might be able to squeeze in while I do this series. I haven't thought about the end of this series yet because I'm still having so much fun doing this. So instead I'm trying to think of like smaller projects I can do in between. I've started so many and just haven't had time to finish.
Are you going to make a book about Maya and Grace?
Ooh, I love that idea. Well, Maya was in Just Jamie, but I could always bring her back again for sure. I do think about Grace a little bit too. There's so many characters I want to cover. And I think that's why I haven't really thought about another series at this point, because I just think all these characters have so much potential if they haven't been developed already. And so, yeah, until I run out of characters and ideas.
Have you ever considered doing not like a Disney World type thing, but some sort of pop-up experiential thing where you cast all the characters and people can come in and meet them?
Oh, wow. I've never thought of that. I think that's a wonderful idea.
That would be fun. You could get like little tickets and they could do a little performance maybe, and you could have, their Instagram type backgrounds and little sayings, and people could write their own captions, and maybe they could all be turned into characters with like some app or something while you're there.
Ooh,
they could name themselves like, Zany Zibby or something.
Yeah. We have done the sort of make your own label kind of thing, like at book events. But no, I love that idea. I'll definitely take note. Thank you.
There's something kind of like that in Uniquely You. You take a quiz on either your Brianna, Emmy, Joe, or Jamie.
Oh,
that's true. And I wrote that a long time ago, and I should do a follow-up just to that book because there's so many new characters.
Amazing.
Why wasn't Izzy in Uniquely You? And why isn't Izzy in any of the other books?
Oh, well, Izzy's kind of a unique character because I hate to sort of give this away because it's sort of a spoiler alert, but she's sort of a character from the past. So she, you don't know that until the end. No, but since you guys read the books, it's okay. But so I don't think of her as much of a contemporary as the other characters are of each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but she was in the same grade as Brianna because they did the talent show.
You're right. Although, if you remember from the book, it took place in the past. Even though it seems like it's the same talent show, it's really not.
No, it's not. Isn't
it?
Oh, so Izzy's like a completely different timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I know, it's confusing.
Wait, but so they were actually in 6th grade?
They were both in 7th grade, but do you know Izzy's relationship to Brianna?
But they didn't meet in the book.
Yeah, you kind of have to go read the book.
Are they cousins?
You have to read the book again, you guys.
Read the book
again.
Wait.
Is it at the end when they say happy birthday, Izzy?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't think Brianna.
All right, we're going to do a deep dive.
Wait. No, because Brianna's mom's name is also Izzy.
Right. Oh!
How did I just figure that out?
That was a hard one. A lot of people had questions with that book. That one wasn't as obvious.
That was
mind blown over here.
Now you have to go back and read the whole thing again, and you'll see.
That was a flashback to when Brianna's mom was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they never met. And also, that's why Brianna's mom really wanted her to do lots of plays.
Yeah.
Maybe.
You got it. They're smart. That was a tough one. That was the tough twist ending, and I would get a lot of letters about that.
Oh wait.
Yeah.
I like that plot twist in Remarkably Ruby.
Thank you.
Well, don't give it all away.
Oh my God, these are her sisters. These are her sisters. Wait. No, these are her sisters. That's her mother. This is Ash. This is Ashley.
Yeah?
This is Danny.
I love witnessing this. This is great. I love being there while the aha moment takes place.
Who knew? Live on Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Kids catch up to the plot twist. Do you have any parting words for Terri?
Thank you for writing this amazing series.
Thank you guys. You were just the best interviewers. I love it.
And thank you for telling us about the Izzy thing.
You got it. I want to see them just go off and start rereading the book.
You both have to go reread this now. And you can write your homework about that chapter. All right. Thank you for the patience you're exhibiting here with the kids.
This is the best. I love it.
Thank you really for the many hours of time that they've spent reading your books so I can interview people like you.
I really appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Say goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey, say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Zibby Owens and at Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books. Also sign up for my newsletter at zibbyowens.com and sign up for my virtual book club and meet lots of authors on Zoom every other week. Thanks so much to Steve and Ryan at Texture Sound for the sound editing. And thank you to Morning Moon Productions for providing this fantastic intro and outro music.